And welcome back to another MMS 2016 speaker interview. Today I'm joined by Pete Zerger, who is one of our MMS 2016 featured speakers. Pete is a principal program manager at Syrson and is certainly one of the go-to guys for everything System Center, cloud, and beyond. So Pete, this year you do have a couple sessions, so why don't we go ahead and talk about those? Why don't we just jump right in and talk about the first session called Think Small to Scale Big. Intro to Containers for the Data Center Admin. What is this all about?
Yeah, there we go. So you touched on one that's close to my heart here. So containers is hot right now. I always think of Mugatu from Zoolander, right?
Yeah.
Docker, so hot right now. I think what most IT pros have in common when it comes to containers is they can spell Docker, but it's not something they spend any time with. And conceptually speaking, it's probably as much of an anxiety point as anything else, right? Is this something I care about? How do I ramp up on this topic, et cetera? All sort of negative feelings in some way. And what we're going to do in that session at MMS, because we have such a unique venue in that we have a 90-minute talk time, we've got half an hour Q&A. We can do things in a window that big that we can't do in a 45 or 60-minute session. So we're going to go soup to nuts from Docker 101 to a highly available application with stateful and stateless components deployed, using some of Docker's go-to capabilities like Swarm, for example, which is clustering for Docker. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to take some people from never having really spent any time with Docker to walking out of this room understanding quite a lot about Docker and being able potentially to go back to where they work and articulate where a technology like this fits in their org. I'm sure for every attendee we have there, there are 10 people back at the office that have the same sorts of questions and feelings about all that. So I hope that folks find it interesting.
Yeah, and of course, we have to remind everyone, all of the sessions at MMS are always going to be very demo focused. So I feel like a lot of the times when I'm trying to learn about Docker or containers in general online, we're kind of stuck in this, slide deck mode for a very long time, very kind of high level, but we're actually going to be jumping into it a little bit. So it should be pretty interesting and should be a lot of fun. Bring your questions. So the next session we have here, switching gears a bit, this is business intelligence and data analytics for the common man. So who's the audience here? What is the common man? What are we going to be seeing?
So the common man is every IT pro out there. Today when we look at data warehousing, even in System Center, when I look at Service Manager, where my company spends a lot of time, right? We're building on Service Manager. It has a BI professional built in, which is the upside. The downside is we're dealing with a data warehouse with a star schema that's very complex. To really fully leverage that repository, it assumes Power Pivot, that you've got some advanced data analysis skills. And I think when we take a step back and we look at reality, advanced data analysis skills doesn't describe most of the people that we're going to find out there in the audience. So it's a point of frustration for me because I see people who want to answer important questions that shouldn't be that difficult to answer, but it really takes them a lot of work and specialized consulting and expensive tools. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to team up with you. So what Lee didn't mention there is he and I are presenting together on this, and Lee has a great BI background. He's got a lot of experience out in the field. I've actually sat in a couple of Lee's BI talks. So what really excites me about this is we're going to be talking about an array of tools. This isn't going to be one of those stock 90-minute Power BI sessions, right?
Right. So, the idea here is you see a lot of Power BI sessions, and what they do is first they load up a data set that is financial data, a bakery company, or maybe even kind of a cool big science data set, which it's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really relate to us as the common IT man, the common man. Not to downplay the challenges of IT people, but so we're kind of going to give you data sets that are realistic and actually, are applicable to us in our day to day, as well as we're not really planning to spend too much time, double clicking, drag and dropping, and building the little charts in Power BI, because we can all figure that out pretty fast. And we've seen that before. We're actually going to show you actually doing something, getting relative interesting information out of your data.
Yeah, that's an important point, Lee, that the relevance of the data sets we're going to be working with will be high to the people that we're working with. And we're really focusing on those areas. What tools do I use when, and how do I arrive at these conclusions, rather than the click next sort of capabilities of building a nice chart in a lot of these tools, which frankly isn't that difficult to do, right? You can sit around on a Friday afternoon and sort that out. It's all of the stuff that comes before that, those decisions you make before and what you do after, that I think we're hoping to bring to the table here and help bridge the gaps. But again, trying to provide our audience with something that they can take back to the office and really, really use in a meaningful way. At the end of the day, we all have that in common, right? We want to go back to the office and make a difference. So.
Yeah, that's right. So Pete, other than these sessions, where else can we find you? What are you gonna be up to during the conference?
So we'll have those Ask the Expert sessions,
yep.
Right? And those have no agenda. So those are nice if you have questions outside of something we're talking about. If we want to drill down into System Center, Cloud, Azure, automation, something else, would love to see smiling faces in the audience there with some interesting scenarios that we can talk through and whiteboard in a more free-form format.
Yeah, one of the things that was interesting in some of last year's session was we'd certainly have a lot of technical questions about the tools and components, but we had quite a few chats about just like career planning and like life, like all this kind of like the soft skills and kind of where the industry is going and things like that. So bring your technical questions and just bring anything you want to talk about. It's actually don't skip the Ask the Experts. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, amen.
So with that, Pete, I want to thank you for taking the time today to jump on for an interview with us, just to let everyone know about the sessions, talk about MMS. I think people are really going to love these sessions. So thanks again, and we'll see you in May.
Always my pleasure, Lee. I'll see you in a few weeks.
All right. Thank you very much. See you, Pete.